On March 12, 2021, at 11:47 p.m., a man named Ethan receives a text message. It's a single, blurry photo of a red door. He doesn't recognize the number. He doesn't recognize the door. He deletes the message and goes to sleep. The next morning, he gets another one. Same number, same red door. But this time, the photo is clearer, and in the corner, almost hidden in the shadows, is a small, wooden rocking horse. A rocking horse identical to the one his grandmother gave him when he was 5. The one he lost in a fire 20 years ago. But how could that be possible? Ethan was a data analyst. His entire life was built on logic and patterns. He found comfort in spreadsheets, not superstition. He was 32, lived alone in a clean, minimalist apartment in the city, and spent his weekends hiking. He was grounded, rational. He believed every effect had a cause. When the strange texts started, his first instinct was to find a logical explanation. It had to be a prank, a wrong number, maybe a targeted ad from a company that knew way too much about his past. That was the most likely answer. So he blocked the number. He went about his day. He made his coffee, went for a run, and tried to forget the strange, gnawing feeling that the photo had left behind. His week started peacefully. The city was waking up to a crisp, clear Monday. Sunlight streamed through his apartment window, lighting up the dust motes dancing in the air. He had a big project at work, a complex data set that required all of his focus. The silence of his apartment was a welcome friend. The rhythmic click of his keyboard was the only sound. He felt in control. He felt safe. The memory of the red door and the rocking horse had started to fade. Just another piece of digital junk in the vast ocean of the internet. For a moment, everything was completely normal. But then, the quiet was broken. That evening, as he was washing dishes, he heard a sound. A soft, rhythmic creaking. It was coming from the living room. He turned off the faucet and listened. Creak. Pause. Creak. He dried his hands and walked slowly out of the kitchen. Everything was exactly as he'd left it. His gray sofa was neat. The books on his coffee table were stacked perfectly. Nothing was out of place. He must have been hearing things. The building was old. It made noises. He told himself it was the pipes or the neighbors upstairs. He dismissed it. But as he walked back to the kitchen, he couldn't shake the feeling that the sound was familiar. And that's when he realized what it was. The next day, the texts returned. This time, from a new number. It was the same red door, the same rocking horse. But the photo was a close-up now. He could see the chipped paint on the horse. He could see a scratch on its left eye. A detail he remembered vividly. He had made that scratch himself with a toy car when he was 6. A cold dread washed over him. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't a prank. He tried to reply, to ask who it was. The message wouldn't send. He tried to call the number. It went straight to a dead, silent line. The mystery was no longer just a curiosity. It was a suffocating presence, and then, that night, it got so much worse. He was woken up by a notification on his phone. A new message. He braced himself for the red door. But it wasn't a photo. It was a single line of text. I remember you liked the lullaby. His blood ran cold. His grandmother used to hum a specific, simple lullaby to him. Nobody else knew it. He sat up in bed, his heart pounding, and then he heard it, faintly, from the other room. A soft humming. The same tune. The same simple, haunting lullaby. And it was in his apartment. He had to get out. He threw on clothes, grabbed his keys and wallet, and ran. He didn't stop until he was at his friend Mark's place, an hour away on the other side of the city. He didn't tell Mark everything. He just said he had a gas leak and needed a place to stay. The change of scenery worked. He felt a wave of relief wash over him. He was safe. The night passed without any more texts, without any strange sounds. He finally felt like he could breathe again. Maybe it was all in his head, a stress-induced hallucination. He fell asleep on Mark's couch, convinced it was over, but it had followed him. The next morning, Mark handed him a cup of coffee. "Hey, man," Mark said, "someone left a package for you at the front desk." Ethan's stomach dropped. He went downstairs. The doorman handed him a small, brown paper package. There was no address. No postage, just his name, written in a familiar, shaky cursive, his grandmother's handwriting. He tore it open, his hands trembling. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a small, wooden, rocking horse. It was warm to the touch, and on its left eye there was a fresh scratch. He looked up from the package, out the glass doors of the lobby, and across the street. There it was, a door he had never seen before on this busy city block. A bright, freshly painted red door, and standing in front of it was a figure, just watching. If you ever receive a message from a number you don't know, be careful what you delete. Some things don't want to be forgotten.